And now it's Deborah Kobylt Live.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today on Deborah Kobylt Live. And I am pleased to introduce Carol Ann Donahue. She volunteers her time with Soroptimist, nsd.org, also soroptimist.org. And she's here to explain to us what is that and just what does it do to help women. Please take it away and welcome to our show, Carol Ann.
Thank you so much for having me, Deborah. First, I'd like to start by saying that Soroptimist, the meaning of the word is that it's good for women. And that really is the root of our goal at Soroptimist. We are part of a global organization, Soroptimist International. We have locations all over the world, but specifically Soroptimist North San Diego. Our club is a little bit different because we provide transitional housing for women exiting abusive home lives. They have to have kids, they have to be homeless. And so that is the state in which they come to us. And they go through a process where they demonstrate to us that they are committed to truly exiting that abusive situation. They are expected to get a job and find care for their children, which can be the most challenging part for most of these women, but it's also the most rewarding. They really start to learn to live independently, and the children, more importantly, start to see their mothers doing that, which is, of course, a very beautiful thing. They are provided with an apartment for a year to a year and a half while they get on their feet. And when they successfully move away from that apartment, they are allowed to take everything, all of the contents of the apartment with them. So as a person who volunteers her time for the program, that is what attracted me to the program. We have other things that we do, such as Live the Dream, which is a way for those women to get an education. It's a small scholarship program where we really assist them with money and just support in getting them through the process of getting educated so they are more employable. And we also have a program called STAT. It addresses sex trafficking. That's really more of an informative program where we reach out in situations where sex trafficking is common and we try to educate people.
Beautiful. That's what I'd like to say first and foremost. And thank you for this. Thank you for doing this for all of our fellow sisters out there, really. How many people would you say that you help each year? And where do you find them? That must be very difficult. I'm going to throw in a third question with all of that. The situation, I'm guessing, I don't have any statistics, is getting even more dire. Is that correct as well?
I would say that's correct. Of course, with the pandemic, people were cooped up together, and in abusive situations like what we are talking about here, that only made things worse. Women are able to find us through, there's an organization called Crisis House, and we work very closely with them, and moms are able to find out about us through Crisis House if they show the desire to really make this a sticking lifestyle for them, where they are choosing independence and success over the abusive situation. Crisis House is able to identify them and recommend them to us. So that is one area, and also homeless shelters are aware of us, so they are able to spot women as well that have kids are in this type of situation.
How many do you think come through your doors each year?
Well, I know that we do have 5 apartments, and each one of those apartments, we're fairly small in that we only have 5 apartments. But with that, each mom typically has 2 to 3, sometimes 4 children. And so when you consider the population of the children, the number is much higher. With our scholarship programs, I would say probably about 20 women per year we are helping throughout that process of getting them educated.
Could you describe to us some of the situations that the women are dealing with before they get to you, the types of abuse that they're struggling with. Are some of them living in cars? Are some of them living in the streets on a tent with their kids? Let us hear about that, would you?
Yes. I think as individuals in our society, we hear about things like this and we have a picture in our head about how bad it can be. And it is that bad, if not worse. Yes, they're living in their cars. They're going to homeless shelters where their children are at risk of further abuse by the
Mm.
people who are in that situation. And I know as a mother, I would never even want my child to set foot through the doors of some of these places, let alone have to live
Wow.
in it. So it's very scary for the children, um, and and the mothers as well, because for most of them, this is the first time they've ever been on their own. When they are in this situation, they have generally been cut off by their own families. They have been dealing with years of abuse where they have not listened to their families, so their families are no longer supporting them. Um,
Wow.
it's a real dire situation where they are kind of at the end of their rope. If so, it's either choose to stand on your own 2 feet, which is incredibly difficult after you have suffered emotional and mental abuse the way they have. It really is something that needs to come deep from within for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bad situation, and we offer our hand and help them up and just give them the tools that they need so that they can realize who they were meant to be.
What is life like for them out on the streets? Because I know very often I've interviewed some women, and women with children out on the streets are often afraid to leave there because they've been so abused from where they came from. They don't know where they're going next. They've lost trust and they've lost faith. Could you tell us, what's it like for them there? Because a lot of look, for those of us, right, with a nice roof over our heads, we think we might understand. We see pictures, we walk by, but we don't understand. So if you could help my audience really, you know, understand what they go through.
Um, it's incredibly scary. It's
Yeah,
incredibly hopeless.
yeah.
I know there's probably not a single person watching who hasn't walked down a street past a homeless person who looks like they're probably on drugs, they're dirty, and they aren't really up to anything productive, to put it nicely. Um, so imagine immersing yourself in that. That is where a lot of these women are, and it's incredibly scary. So they're not only scared for themselves, but they are scared for their children. Um,
Mm,
it's hard to provide any kind of education for them at that time, so they're worried about that as well. And every mom loves a good fat baby because we like seeing our kids eat. And even that is something that they struggle with because they have no money. A lot of these women leave
wow,
their homes with hopefully shoes on their feet, and they grab their purse if they're lucky. So
wow,
again, I can't stress enough how important this is in a time in our country when we're thinking about mental health issues. I would ask everyone watching to ask themselves, where do those mental issues come from? They come from
mm,
little boys and little girls that were raised in an abusive situation. A portion of mental issues come from there. I'm not saying all issues do, but a good portion of them do. And many people get themselves out of that situation, but many don't. And these are the brave, incredibly brave women who have chosen a better path for themselves and for their children.
tell us, if you will, some of the success stories. Hang on, I just want to fix my camera for a moment. Um, hang on, just let me. Better. Tell me, if you will, some of these success stories that you've seen, that you've worked with, in terms of, getting out and finding a job that they're able to stay with, right? that they feel productive with, that they know they can grow with, and also for their children to be able to get into school and assimilate back, hopefully, into something that seems a little normal, right? To
Yeah,
use that word.
yeah. Well, I am fairly new with Soroptimist. I've been with them for a year now, and I can speak to a young mother that I am currently mentoring.
Ah,
She has 3 children, and she's adorable.
oh,
And the first time I met with her in her apartment with her 3 children running around, I only have 2 children, and I've always thought that women that have 3 are quite brave.
that would
But
be me.
yeah.
But I
um,
but I have all the help that I could have needed with my family. So
exactly.
I I can't speak to ever to what they're going through. So go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, and she was very excited about her apartment because she has never lived in an apartment before. She was raised in mobile homes, and so the apartment was very exciting for her. She really struggled to find employment because she doesn't have a car.
Right.
So where we have these women housed, it is in a fairly centrally located area. So there is mass transit that they have access to. And bless her heart, she found a position, and she is making money, and she found a fantastic situation for her children and daycare. And
Wow.
at one point, she was considering exiting the program because again, it's very lonely. These women are not allowed to share where they live with anybody,
Oh,
period. Because one way or another, their abuser could possibly find them. I think we all understand that an abuser doesn't just let their significant other go easily. So it's an incredibly lonely place to be the mother to 3 small children, and to not be able to have family members come over and help you, or to not, be able to talk about your new living situation at any great length. But she is gainfully employed now. Her kids are doing very well. Um, there is still a long road ahead of her, but I think she's finally getting to a place where she understands that. But more importantly, she understands that that is doable for her. She is starting to see that you don't only need family for support. We are here to support her, and it's just a fantastic thing to witness and watch.
do you partner with local businesses or national businesses in terms of, helping to find jobs, education, and whatnot?
Yes, they go through a state-run program that helps them find a job. So as far as the employment aspect, that has been a very wonderful resource for these mothers. And we do partner with businesses in that we do fundraiser every year. We just had our Hats and Heels fundraiser. It's what we do once a year, and the ladies get all dressed up in their hats and heels. It's kind of like the first day at the races here in Del Mar, and there's a live auction. It's just a really fantastic event, and we have companies that have consistently sponsored us over time, and we are so grateful. That fundraiser is literally where we get the majority of the
Right.
money that we use to support these women.
And I want to encourage people watching this, please support, because we need it. And I've often thought we are just one step away from being in that situation very often, right? Um, I often also say that when a little girl is 2 or 3, or a little boy, they don't say, "Oh, when I grow up, I want to be homeless." Of course not, right? And it just doesn't happen. So we don't really know the situation and why they ended up there, but we do know that we can help. So give a shout out, if you will, to how people can find you, if you would.
Yes, please go to soroptimistnsd.org. That is our website. We also run Hats and Heels with our sister club, and that is soroptimistpoway.org. We are 2 clubs. We are the only 2 clubs in the entire organization that do the transitional housing. And when I say we do the transitional housing, we get in our sweats and t-shirts and ponytails and we move
Of
into
course.
apartments for these women. We have the most incredible volunteers that come in, and it is actually so much fun to go in and do it. And that's another thing I love about volunteering for Soroptimist, because it's a real hands-on experience. And to watch a new mom walk into her new home with her children, knowing that they are safe, is probably top 5 most rewarding things I've ever done in my life.
Mm.
So yeah, soroptimistnsd.org is an excellent place to go. And if you so choose, if you can join and keep an eye on our website and look out for Hats and Heels, it's an excellent, fun event to attend. And the money, all of it goes to the charity because it is a volunteer-run organization.
Are you looking to increase your space? Because I know you said right now you have 5 apartments.
We have 5 apartments, and our last fundraiser, which just happened a month or 2 ago. Life is a little crazy right now, so time is a little weird for me, but I
Tell
think
me.
a lot of people understand that after the pandemic. But our fundraiser was so successful that yes, we are considering whether or not we can do another 6th apartment. The
Wow.
property manager that we contract with, we have it in our contract that we are able to have 6 apartments. It's just, you got to make sure it's in the budget because those other 5 women are depending on it.
Before I let you go, I'd like very briefly for you to tell me your situation. Life wasn't always so easy for you when you were younger, right? Would you share with our audience some of what you've gone through earlier on in your life, if you would?
Well, so I grew up in an abusive home. My parents divorced when I was 7, but my abusive father was never fully out of my life. I lived with him in high school. I understand firsthand the effects of being raised in an environment like that. When you have seen your mother knocked unconscious on multiple occasions, and you're not sure if she's alive or dead, that's something that children just shouldn't go through. And that is, I apologize for being so frank about it, but that is exactly what these children are dealing with. Children don't understand that that's not normal. And children see other children who don't deal with that, and they think they've done something wrong. They think that they are not worthy of a home where daddies don't hit their mommies. So
Wow.
that does something to you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and it takes a long time to dig yourself out. I'm 53 and I'm just now in a career that I am so fortunate to be in. And it took me that long to get to a place mentally where I can even focus. So when you are raised in that environment, it literally changes your DNA. So
Yeah.
I can't stress the importance of it enough. And I also can't stress enough how these mothers that choose to exit these situations are absolute heroes.
Yeah.
They are so amazing, and we do everything we can to empower them so they can do exactly that, because they are really putting their children first. And it's just incredible. I remember when I was about 5, when I was a child, it was not against the law to hit your wife. So, the
Oof.
neighbors would hear what was going on and they would call the police, and the police would come and tell my mom she needs to leave and get the kids out. And I had 2 sisters and 2 brothers, and she would leave the boys there because she just couldn't take 5 kids with her. And the San Diego Mission offered shelter during those times. And it was a huge room full of cots, and it was scary, and concrete floors, and children just don't belong in that situation, not in the United States of America. They don't belong in that situation anywhere, but in
No.
our beautiful country, where we have so much, that just should not be a situation. And we are working so hard to make it not so.
Gosh, Carol Ann, I really appreciate you sharing your story. I mean, it also brings home so much, right? To
Yeah.
me, to our audience, understanding you and what you do, understanding the organization and all that they do and why you're involved. So thanks so much for sharing that. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And once again, please look up, please, Soroptimist NSD.org to get involved. There's lots that we can do. We can donate, we can get involved, boots on the ground. They need our help. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing. Any other words you'd like to say to my audience before I let you go?
Just yeah, there are many charities in your area. If you're not in San Diego, there are many charities that do this. I think you know of one, Deborah, in your area that you
Yeah.
mentioned when we were chatting. And just please get involved, especially if you're one of the people out there who, during all of this horrible stuff going on in the United States right now with shootings, and we're focused on mental health. Um, this is one way you can really make a difference. You can make a difference in the future mental health of our nation. So, and it's so easy and it's so fun and it's just, it's a beautiful thing and it instills pride in yourself too, if you happen to be a person that could use a little bit of that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And I do hope, go ahead, please.
And Deborah, thank you so much for this opportunity. It really obviously means a lot to me and my Soroptimist sisters. So I thank you so much for the opportunity to speak.
It's my pleasure. We don't do this for one another. And, we all struggle one way or another. And giving back is critical to help, like I said, our sisters who are struggling even harder. So thank you. Carol Ann Donahue, Soroptimist.org. You can get involved locally. You can get involved where you live. Just get involved because we all need each other. So thank you, everybody, Carol Ann and everyone there. And thanks for tuning in. I hope that this inspired you to get involved and look them up. Thanks for tuning in to Deborah Kobylt Live. You can find us everywhere on video and audio podcasts. So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you.